Hello and welcome to the No One Asked You podcast. For this particular series, I am joined by my wonderful co-host, ThatDarnKItteh. Kitty and I are both going into this story completely new with almost no knowledge of the story or world. Each segment will cover what happens in each new chapter while discussing our experience along the way. This is The Hero of Ages. It's all in the pages, a blind read-through. And today we are covering chapters 6 and 7, Blind. Thanks to folks in the Discord, I've been able to log which chapters are super short, and it looks like both chapters 6 and 7 are very short. So I think we should do both of them as a blind. Get those out of the way now, and then we've got 8 as a blind for next week. Hooray!
Hooray, let's do it. Sorry, water down the wrong pipe.
Oh no.
Cool, let's go.
Chapter 6.
Chapter 6.
Reshek soon found a balance in the changes he made to the world, which was fortunate, for his power burned away quickly. Though the power he held seemed immense to him, it was in truth a tiny fraction of something much greater. Of course, he did end up naming himself the Sliver of Infinity in his religion. Perhaps he understood more than I give him credit for. In any case, we had him to thank for a world without flowers, where plants grew brown rather than green, and where people could survive in an environment where ash fell from the sky on a regular basis.
Why did he change the world at all? Why did he have to?
Well, it was because of the mist, wasn't it? Because he thought that the deepness was the mist and it was covering the world and ruining crops. So he tried moving the earth closer to the sun to burn away the mist, but he moved it too far.
Yeah, okay.
Is what I got. But the big takeaway I got here was Sliver of Infinity. We got that answer. He sort of had this idea that the power he took was part of an even greater whole.
Yeah.
And therefore he made up the phrase or the title.
Yeah, when he said a fraction of something, when I read a fraction of something much greater, immediately I went to Sliver of Infinity, and there it went. There it was.
Yeah. Perhaps he knew more than I give him credit for. I expect that we're going to get more Reshek notes in this book, and I bet that is going to come true. That possibility. That he did understand more. It'll be interesting. I'm too weak, Marsh thought. Oh boy, Marsh. Chapter.
Gross.
It's gonna be dark. Lucidity came upon him suddenly, as it often did when Ruin wasn't watching him closely. It was like waking from a nightmare, fully aware of what had been going on in the dream, yet confused as to the reasoning behind his actions. He continued to walk through the Kolos camp. Ruin still controlled him, as it always did, yet when it didn't press hard enough against Marsh's mind, when it didn't focus on him, sometimes Marsh's own thoughts returned. Okay?
Ooh, it's giving me the great eye kind of thing, where it's like, it's focused, it doesn't know all the time. That's good.
Yeah. There'll be a window of opportunity when its attention is drawn elsewhere. And Marsh is the hero of ages? No, I don't think that's the case. But that will lead to a pivotal moment, I have no doubt. I can't fight it, he thought. Ruin couldn't read his thoughts. Of that he was fairly confident. Yet Marsh couldn't fight or struggle in any way. When he did, Ruin immediately asserted control once more. This had been proven to Marsh a dozen times over. Sometimes he managed to quiver a finger, perhaps halt a step, but that was the best he could do.
Sheesh.
Yeah, that's...
I mean, it could count for in a battle, but...
He could press a button or something. It was depressing, but Marsh had always considered himself a practical man, and he forced himself to acknowledge the truth. He was never going to gain enough control over his body to kill himself. Okay, what else can you do then? What are your other options?
And it's actually quite interesting that we've just come off this chapter where it's like your thoughts are the only safe space. It's like his mind is his only refuge. That's the only thing he is now. He is just a mind.
Yep. Yep. Ash fell as he walked through the camp. Did it ever stop these days? He almost wished that Ruin would never let go of his mind, when his mind was his own. Marsh saw only pain and destruction. When Ruin controlled him, however, the falling ash was a thing of beauty, the red sun a marvelous triumph, the world a place of sweetness in its death.
Wow, sounds like some sort of drug.
Yeah, definitely. And like, I can get that, like,
Mm.
if you could look at the worst of things and not be bothered by it, and like there's
No,
just nothing but the worst of things around you,
what
and
it
you
said. No, no,
can't
no.
die.
It's not. No, it's not. It's not finding a problem with it. It's actually finding joy in it.
Yeah. Look, I was trying to like lowball it, Kitty. I'm aware of what it said. I'm saying it. The impulse is understandable, Marsh. Madness, Marsh thought, approaching the center of camp. I need to go mad. Then I won't have to deal with all of this. Other inquisitors joined him at the center of the camp, walking with quiet swishes of their robes. They didn't speak. They never spoke. Ruin controlled them all. So why bother with conversation? Marsh's brethren had the normal spikes in their heads driven into the skull, yet he could also see telltale signs of the new spikes jutting from their chests and backs. Marsh had placed many of them, killing the terracemen that had either been captured in the north or tracked down across the land. Okay?
Mm.
So it seems like his big responsibility is making more inquisitors, which we kind of got from the first chapter. We just didn't know the depth of it.
And it seems like they have terrorismen that had either been captured in the north or tracked down across the land. So like, I'm wondering if they do have to. They're only taking ferrochemists, or if it is just terrorismen. Maybe he would have said ferrochemist.
Yeah. Marsh himself had a new set of spikes, some driven between his ribs, others down through his chest. They were a marvelous thing. He didn't understand why, but they excited him. Now, is that Ruin talking or is that you talking, Marsh?
Yeah, I think it's Ruin starting to take over again. I think that's what we're starting to get.
The spikes had been imbued through death, and that was pleasant enough, but there was more. He somehow knew that the Inquisitors had been incomplete. The Lord Ruler had withheld some abilities to make the Inquisitors more dependent upon him, to make certain they couldn't threaten him. But now, what he'd kept back had been provided. What a beautiful world. Yeah, you're right. It's Ruin, paying attention again. What a beautiful world. Marsh thought, looking up into the falling ash, feeling the light, comforting flakes upon his skin.
Yeah, we got some, at least we got some information. Just also remember, we just had Vin thinking about what information has the Lord Ruler, the Drashek, keeps himself from his experience. He never ever wrote it down. So, yeah, things like whatever was withheld from the Inquisitors. So abilities were withheld from the Inquisitors.
Yep.
So yeah, Inquisitors Plus has occurred, and I hate it.
Agreed. But it's very good to know that Marsh has the extra spikes as well. And now chapter 7, which is also short.
Yep, chapter 7.
Chapter 7! I speak of us as we, the group, those of us who were trying to discover and defeat Ruin. Perhaps my thoughts are now tainted, but I like to look back and see the sum of what we were doing as a single united assault, though we were all involved in different processes and plans. We were one. That didn't stop the world from ending, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. So, whoa.
Oh well, so the world did end.
Yeah, apparently.
Okay. Are we exogenesising? Or did they go to another planet?
Oh, interesting. Possible, I suppose. I mean, there is Cosmere travel, so it could be that they all just ended up as refugees elsewhere. I think of the Terrace prophecies. They say I will save the world, but they also hint that I will have the power to destroy it as well. So I think there could be some double speak here to suggest that they didn't stop it from ending, but really it's a bit deeper than that. It's slightly off kilter, so to speak. This definitely feels like it's a member of the crew, which I thought it was Sazed, so still open. Could be Vin, could be Elend, could be Breeze.
Yeah.
But right now, the only group working to stop Ruin is the crew that we're aware of. They gave him bones. Yay, it's Tensoon. Tensoon flowed around them, dissolving muscles, then reforming them into organs, sinew, and skin. He built a body around the bones, using skills gained over centuries spent eating and digesting humans. Corpses only, of course. He had never killed a human. The contract forbade such things. Cool.
We know this. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
gross.
the contract itself. Yeah. Forbade such things. And yeah, gross. Slimy.
After a year in his pit of a prison, he felt as if he had forgotten how to use a body. What was it like to touch the world with rigid digits rather than flesh that flowed against the confines of stone? What was it like to taste and smell with tongue and nostrils alone rather than with every bit of skin exposed to the air? What was it like to see? Important question I have here, though. What do you prefer? If I could shapeshift, I feel like it would be fun and neat to experience, but generally speaking, I would want to revert back to my primary form.
Yep.
Is that the case with Khandra?
I don't know. I don't think so. Yeah. And also in this case, he's confined. So
Yeah,
maybe
that's
their
true.
primary
There's
form
that.
at least takes up a little bit more space. They become Mistwraith.
Sure. What was it like to see? He opened his eyes and gasped, drawing first breath into remade full-sized lungs. The world was a thing of wonder and of light. He had forgotten that. During the months of near madness, he pushed himself to his knees, looking down at his arms. Then he reached up, feeling his face with a tentative hand. His body wasn't that of any specific person. He would have needed a model to produce such a replica. Instead, he had covered the bones with muscle and skin as best he could. He was old enough that he knew how to create a reasonable approximation of a human. The features wouldn't be handsome. They might be a little grotesque, but that was more than good enough for the moment. He felt real again.
Jeez.
Do you watch Star Trek Deep Space Nine, or have you?
Nope.
So there's this character called Odo, and he's a changeling, and he generally tries to approximate that of a human, and he looks slightly off. He looks a little plastic. There are like no wrinkles at all. It's a little disconcerting to look at, and that's kind of the vibe I got here.
Yeah, I'm getting that too. That kind of uncanny valley, like, yeah, human but off. And too smooth.
Yeah.
Just the whole emergence from the kind of torture he's basically been under for a while and coming back into existence. It's quite a jolting experience. So,
Yeah.
damn. The cruelty. Ugh.
I think this chapter is too short for us to get his trial.
Unless we don't know what it's like. Maybe their trials are quite quick.
Yeah. But seriously, I am wondering, like, what this chapter is going to be then, like, what we're going to learn here. Still on hands and knees, he looked up at his captor. The cavern was lit by a glowstone, a large porous rock set atop a thick column base. The bluish fungus that grew on the rock made enough of a glow to see by, especially if one had specifically grown eyes that were good at seeing in dim blue light. I also want to know if the Khandra have any thoughts on the mist and ruin.
Maybe that's what this chapter will do. Give us something.
Yeah. Tensoon knew his captor. He knew most Khandra, at least up to the 6th and 7th generations. This Khandra's name was Varcel. In the homeland, Varcel didn't wear the bones of an animal or human, but instead used a true body, a set of false bones, human-shaped, crafted by a Khandra artisan. Varcel's true body was quartz, and he left his skin translucent, allowing the stone to sparkle faintly in the fungal light as he studied Tensoon. That sounds
Interesting.
cool.
So you just asked, like, wouldn't you go to your default body? Well, this seems like a true body. It seems like the most preferable thing you would do,
Yeah.
which makes them seem so alien.
Yeah. And it's interesting that Tensoon has the thought about animal bones here,
Mm-hmm.
because I thought that was a very unique thing. I
Mm.
know that the nobility had never supposedly demanded it of a Khandra before, but it makes sense that
Mm.
Khandra would know. They just
Yeah.
happened to find it demeaning.
Mm.
I made my body opaque, Ten soon realized, like that of a human, with tan skin to obscure the muscles beneath. Why had that come so naturally to him? Once he had cursed the years he spent among the humans, using their bones instead of a true body. Perhaps he had fallen to that same old default because his captors hadn't given him a true body. Human bones, an insult of sorts. Yeah,
Hmm.
fair.
Yeah,
And you're just really
that
good
makes
at what you
sense.
do. You do it by instinct.
Yeah, you don't usually do that. You don't usually do the translucent thing because that's just not what you should be doing out in human land.
Yeah. Tensoon stood. What? He asked at the look in Varsel's eyes. I picked a random set of bones from the storeroom, Varsel said. It's ironic that I would give you a set of bones you'd contributed yourself. Tensoon frowned. What? Yeah, I'm a little confused there. So,
Okay,
just
so
random.
he's no, he contributed the bones, so he brought these bones through.
Oh, is it Kelsier bones? Is it Kelsier
Wonder.
bones?
Interesting. Probably, but wow. Yeah, okay.
And then he made the connection. The body that Tensoon had created around the bones must look convincing, as if it were the original one that these bones had belonged to. Varcel assumed that Tensoon had been able to create such a realistic approximation because he'd originally digested the human's corpse and therefore knew how to create the right body around the bones.
Okay, so
Tensoon
people
smiled.
just hold it. So yeah,
Oh,
his people don't know how good he is. That's
yeah,
great.
he
That's
is
great.
just that good.
But no, now he's
Oh,
telling them.
oh no. Tensoon smiled. I've never worn these bones before. Varcel eyed him. He was of the 5th generation. Freaking child.
Yeah.
He was of the 5th generation, 2 centuries younger than Tensoon. Indeed, even among those of the 3rd generation, with scant exceptions such as Palm, constantly sent on personal missions by the father,
Mm.
few Khandra had. Yeah, that was what my pause was about.
I don't have any
Interesting.
father. No, it doesn't tell me anything about the father. Yeah, mine just goes. Indeed, among those of the 3rd generation, few Khandra had as much experience with the outside world as Tensoon. That was
Ooh,
it.
interesting.
Mm.
Indeed, even among those of the 3rd generation, with scant exceptions such as Palm, constantly sent on personal missions by the father, few Khandra. Oh, father being probably the Lord
The Lord
Ruler.
Ruler. Yeah.
Yep. Few Khandra had as much experience with the outside world as Tensoon. I see, Varcel eventually said. Tensoon turned, looking over the small chamber. 3 more 5th generationers. I feel like you could have come up with a. Okay, okay. 3 more 5th generationers stood near the door, watching him. Like Varcel, few of them wore clothing, and those who did wore only open-fronted robes. Khandra tended to wear little while in the homeland, as that allowed them to better display their true bodies.
Oh wow. Just what does
Nudists.
this true body look like though? Like,
I
hmm.
imagine it looks like a man made of, like, crystal or diamond,
Mm.
if that makes sense,
There's
with the
yeah.
translucent,
Mm.
yeah, or clear plastic,
Mm.
but shiny.
Mm.
Tensoon saw 2 sparkling rods of metal embedded in the clear muscles of each fifth's shoulders. All 3 had the blessing of potency. Okay, so we had blessing of whatever the earlier one was in the
Presence.
previous presence, and now there's blessing of potency
But that's
and
because of these rods.
rods of metal. That's
Mm-hmm.
important. Embedded. So maybe they've got something similar going on to the hemalurgy thing
Mm-hmm.
or to ferrochemy.
Mm-hmm.
The second generation was taking no risk of his escaping. It was another insult. Tensoon had come to his fate willingly. Well? Tensoon asked, turning back to Varcel. Are we to go? Varcel glanced at one of his companions. Forming the body was expected to take you longer. Oh shit? Suck it, Varcel.
Let's go.
Tensoon snorted. The second generation is unpracticed. They assume that because it still takes them many hours to create a body, the rest of us require the same amount of time. They are your elder generation, Varcel said. You should show them respect. Yeah, like the respect you're showing my man Tensoon?
Yeah, exactly.
The second generation has been sequestered in these caves for centuries. They live in caves. Okay, good to know. The second generation have been sequestered in these caves for centuries, Tensoon said, sending the rest of us to serve contracts while they remain lazy. I passed them in skill long ago.
Woo! Revolutionary Tensoon. He's bringing them all with him. This is part of his, his role in the group. Okay, this is his way of fighting through.
Yes.
Even though he doesn't know it yet.
Varcel hissed, and for a moment Tensoon thought the younger Khandra might slap him. Varcel restrained himself, barely, to Tensoon's amusement. After all, as a member of the third generation, Tensoon was senior to Varcel, much in the same way that the seconds were supposedly senior to Tensoon. Yet the thirds were a special case. They always had been. That was why the seconds kept them out on contracts so much. It wouldn't do to have their immediate underlings around all the time, upsetting their perfect little Khandra utopia. I don't know. I can get that, but also keep your friends close and your enemies closer.
Yeah.
Either or. Let's go then, Varcel finally decided, nodding for two of his guards to lead the way. The other one joined Varcel, walking behind Tensoon. Like Varcel, these three had true bodies formed of stone. Those were popular among the fifth generation, who had time to commission and use lavish true bodies. They were the favored pups of the seconds, and tended to spend more time than most in the homeland. Okay? Interesting.
Yeah, there's so much culture building here.
Yeah. They had given Tensoon no clothing, so as they walked, he dissolved his genitals and reformed a smooth crotch, as was common among the Khandra.
That's cool. It was, see, again, it's so instinctual that he even made like complex things like genitals and everything. And also, yeah, he makes genitals. So.
Yeah.
And now
Ken
he's got it. Yeah, he's made himself Ken doll.
Yeah, from Tensoon to Ken doll. Kendra. Oh gosh. He tried to walk with pride and confidence, but he knew this body wouldn't look intimidating. It was emaciated. He'd lost much mass during his imprisonment, and more to the acid, and he hadn't been able to form very large muscles. The smooth rock tunnel had probably once been a natural formation, but over the centuries, the younger generations had been used during their infancy to even out the stone with their digestive juices. Okay, interesting, sure.
Nice. Cool, whatever. I mean, they're hardly conscious. Let them go.
Tensoon didn't see many other Khandra. Varcel kept to back corridors, obviously not wanting to make too much of a show. Sure, makes sense. I've been away so long, Tensoon thought. The 11th generation must have been chosen by now. I still don't know most of the 8th, let alone the 9th or 10th.
Interesting that they call it chosen. Generations must have been chosen by now.
Yeah.
Not born.
I imagine that there's like a set of them in like birthing pods or something, or like cryo chambers, and you choose which ones to release. Kind of a situation, maybe. What do you think?
That is an option. I don't know. Or do they go and pick mist wraiths, basically, and allow them to ascend?
Yeah, that's possible. I still don't know most of the 8th, let alone the 9th or 10th. He was beginning to suspect that there wouldn't be a 12th generation. Ooh, okay, dark.
Oof. Yeah.
Even if there were, things could not continue as they had. The father was dead. What then of the first contract? His people had spent 10 centuries enslaved to humankind, serving the contracts in an effort to keep themselves safe. Most of the Kandra hated humans for their situation. Up until recently, Tensoon had been one of those.
Aw, because now
Yeah.
he likes Vin.
Yay. But yay. But can you blame them if someone can just enslave you on a whim and take control of your body? I wouldn't blame you. It's ironic, Tensoon thought, but when we wear true bodies, we wear them in the form of humans. 2 arms, 2 legs, faces formed after the fashion of humankind. Sometimes he wondered if the unbirthed, the creatures that the humans called mistwraiths, were more honest than their brothers, the Kandra. There's your answer. You are correct.
Yeah. So but we don't know the process yet, but
Yeah, although that does make me think the blessing of presence is, what turns a mistwraith into a Kandra.
but then he spoke about
Maybe.
the blessing of something else. Because remember, that was my theory. I was like, oh, the blessing of presence would be the thing that gives him them minds. But he spoke about the blessing of, what was it?
Potency.
Potency. Yeah. So
Yeah, that's
it
true.
seemed like that there you only get one blessing. So I think the birthing being chosen is about that.
Yeah. The mistwraiths would form a body however they wished, connecting bones in odd arrangements, making almost artistic designs from both human and animal bones. The Kandra, though, they created bodies that looked human, even while they cursed humankind for keeping them enslaved. Such a strange people they were, but they were his, although he had betrayed them. And now I have to convince the first generation that I was right in that betrayal. Not for me, for them. For all of us. Yeah, he's totally
Oh.
going to go and be like, look, Vin is good, and if we go and join her, we can join her as us, or something to that effect.
So,
Father
yeah,
is
something.
dead, the contracts are broken. It's time for us to stand up and join with people.
I don't know. I don't know if that is. I mean, like I'm hearing you, but I don't think
Yeah.
that would be.
It's
It would
very
work. I think,
idealistic.
yeah. At
Ironic
best,
because I was so harsh on Ellen earlier.
but at best, I think what would happen is he would try to convince him the world is ending. We need to fight.
Yeah,
We need to do
I agree.
something about ruin.
I agree. Agree. They passed through corridors and chambers, eventually arriving at sections of the homeland that were more familiar to Tensoon. He soon realized that their destination must be the Trust Warren. He would argue his defense in his people's most sacred place. He should have guessed. A year of torturous imprisonment had earned him a trial before the first generation. He'd had a year to think about what to say, and if he failed, he'd have an eternity to think about what he'd done wrong. An eternity? I thought they were going to kill you, regardless
Well,
if you
maybe when
lost.
you die, it's eternity.
Yeah, that's true. Woo!
Yeah, so just revelation. So we didn't get his trial, as you said, but we still get a lot of information about the Kandra and this weird culture that they are, and they're so alien, but they
Yeah,
still have human forms. It's very interesting. They were created by a human, supposedly, so it makes sense.
yep. Fascinating. Love the Kandra, and I want to know more. Trust Warren. Cool. I have 8 as a blind, and I see that 9 is short. It's like 2 pages, 2.5 pages. So we'll probably do 9 as a blind as well next week, along with 8,
Yeah,
which means we're zipping through this book very quickly.
technically, this
Technically,
page number was okay.
that's true.
Anyway, I've written BB, so no reading for that this week.
Excellent. Thank you all for tuning in. Have a great rest of your week. Thank you for joining, Kitty,
Thanks for having me.
and we'll see you next time. Okay, thanks, bye.
Okay, thanks, bye.